All right, let's talk about a feeling that's, well, it's pretty intense and way more common than you think. It's that feeling when you're so fed up, you just want to break an enemy at work. But what if I told you this wasn't just raw emotion? What if it's actually a logical response to a broken system? We're going to dig into the hidden logic behind hitting that breaking point. I mean, have you ever really felt that? That deep in your bones frustration where you're past being annoyed and you're ready to just tear the whole thing down? It's a powerful, almost overwhelming feeling. And it turns out there's some fascinating stuff going on, both culturally and in your own brain, that explains exactly why it happens. At its very core, the conflict really boils down to this fundamental clash. On one side, you've got your own internal drive. Your brain is literally wired for speed, for prediction, for getting to a place of clarity. But on the other side, you've got their system. And it's so often built on slowness, on control, and on processes that do nothing but create mental clutter. This isn't just a simple disagreement on how to work. It's practically a declaration of war on the way your mind is designed to function. So where does this fight even begin? Well, our first clue is in the environment itself, the external battleground. It all starts with the unwritten rules of a workplace culture, the kind of rules that can make you feel like you've got a target on your back. To really get our heads around this clash, we're going to use this amazing tool called Hofstede's cultural dimensions. Think of it like a decoder ring for office politics. It helps us see the invisible stuff, how a group's hidden values about power and who's in charge shape literally everything. And this is where the sparks really start to fly. Just imagine you're this highly individualistic person, driven by your own achievements. Now, drop yourself into a culture with a high power distance. That means a super strict hierarchy where leaders control every little thing. Your deep need for autonomy is just constantly getting slammed by a system that only cares about conformity. It is a perfect recipe for absolute frustration.
And that really gets to the heart of it, doesn't it? That's the real message behind all that control. When every single task is micromanaged, when following the process is more important than the actual purpose, the system is basically screaming at you, we don't trust you to think for yourself. And for anyone who's competent, that's not just inefficient, it feels like a direct insult to your intelligence.
Okay, so let's follow this thread. We're going to pivot now from the external culture to the internal battlefield. Let's look at what's actually happening inside your brain when it's being forced to operate in this kind of hostile environment. This quote from the source material, man, it just nails it. That feeling of being made slow or stupid, it's not just in your head. It's a real cognitive thing. When a system makes you juggle a million irrelevant moving parts, endless bureaucratic steps, forms, meetings, it creates all this mental clutter that is actively sabotaging your ability to think clearly. So why does that clutter feel so violating? It's because it goes completely against your brain's natural programming. There's this model called the ACT FAST model, and it shows that our minds have this incredibly efficient system for making sense of the world. And guess what? It's not built for slowness, it's built for prediction. And get this is mind-blowing. This system is so powerful that our brains can actually predict what other people are going to do up to 13 seconds into the future. It's like a social superpower, and it lets us navigate these super complex interactions with incredible speed. So how in the world does it do that? Well, the brain takes millions of complex social actions and simplifies them, boiling them down to just 6 core dimensions. It creates this elegant, simple map that allows for these lightning-fast predictions. So when a slow, illogical system is constantly creating prediction errors, it's not just annoying, it's like throwing a bunch of static into your brain's finely tuned predictive engine. Now, for some of us, this friction it's off the charts. This is especially true if you identify as twice exceptional, which means being gifted but also having a learning difference, like dyslexia. Your brain may have built these incredible workarounds, like insane pattern recognition skills, to bypass certain bottlenecks. So for you, it's not just that you dislike inefficiency, you are acutely, almost painfully aware of it. Your cognitive edge suddenly becomes this source of massive frustration. Okay, so we get it. The frustration is real. The question is, what do you do with it? The answer isn't just to lash out and break things. No, the answer is to make a strategic pivot, to learn how to turn all that frustration into fuel for a much smarter fight. First thing you do, you undermine the micromanagers by becoming the master of why. Instead of getting stuck in the weeds of their process, you constantly elevate the conversation to the bigger picture, to the purpose, to the context. Look, true leaders make everyone smarter by providing clarity, not by dictating steps. When you own the context, you take back the control.
Second, you have to embrace your greatest asset. Let's be real, in any competitive environment, speed is everything. Delays cost money, they cost opportunities. Your brain is a high-performance engine built for speed, so don't let a slow system put a governor on it. You need to use your ability to think and act fast as a strategic weapon to blow right past the bureaucracy.
And finally, look, this is probably the most important part of all. The constant friction of fighting a broken system is exhausting. It will burn you out. You have to master your inner game. That means managing your energy, your focus, your emotions. Your ability to have any sustained influence depends completely on this internal mastery.
So let's land the plane with this thought. That intense frustration you feel, it's not a sign that you're broken or difficult. It's a signal. It's your highly tuned cognitive system screaming that something is deeply, fundamentally inefficient and wrong. In other words, it's a feature, not a bug. So the only real question left is, how are you going to use it?